Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturgio and Chris Gucci.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Mojo Market Report right here on a Wednesday. It's Hump Day, ladies and gentlemen. It is Dave Sturgio. It is Chris Gucci, and of course, it's A5. Anthony behind the glass here at Chop Studios. Almost doom and gloom yesterday around the drive home. We're baseball fans here as well, big baseball fans. And, we got the John Heyman report and then the unreport. Boy, is he getting dragged on Twitter.
I didn't it was Arson Judge, right? The whole time I was thinking, when's Aaron going to sign? Because I'm waiting on the Aaron Judge news, but no, not a good look for Mr. Heyman. We have life.
I have video footage of him just like moseying around the hotel lobby, and the caption was like, "The loneliest man on the planet right now." Bro, you can't do that, all right? So journalists, you're the guy.
I will say
him
this:
and Passan are the guys.
I fully expect. I'm not a fan of Heyman by any stretch.
Okay,
right? But I do think Aaron Judge is going to hit up Heyman when he does make his decision and let Heyman break it in like true Aaron Judge fashion.
Class. Yeah. That's nice.
That's what I expect. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
I wonder if Heyman's dragged Judge in the past. If so, maybe not.
We will see. He's got receipts, I'm assuming. Yesterday, also some news broke right before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode is that we thought for sure there'd be no teams in the history of teams to claim Baker Mayfield. Oof. But it seems like the Los Angeles Rams want to get involved with Baker Mayfield.
Can I make my prediction?
Sure can.
They have no interest in winning football games. The Rams are smart because
I read this comment, but go ahead.
If a team signs Baker in the offseason, the Rams will receive a compensatory pick. They don't have any picks. They need picks. So Baker Mayfield coming in, we're going to lose anyway. Might as well let him get beat up a little bit behind that offensive line.
There's rumors that he's going to start tomorrow.
What I say? Did I just say the Rams don't have any interest in winning football games?
You did say that. I'm checking real quick of
I feel like it's
the
disrespectful
it did
to any
up.
quarterback that's been there all year long to bring in Baker to start, where it's like Baker can't even beat out Sam Darnold and P.J. Walker.
Baker's up 4%. Went up $1 yesterday. So the market is dictating that he could potentially catch on here. He's going to wear number 17. He's changed his whole life.
He's up 4%. So all that I see right there is like there's 4% out there for the taking. If anybody wants some of that 4%, just go out there and short Baker. You'll get it right back.
Yeah, that's it'll be interesting if he goes out there and starts slinging the ball all over the place. I mean, look, he knows the route tree. I think it's like I did hear a quote this morning saying that Baker Mayfield might start on Thursday, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then he goes, wait a minute, he's like, Baker Mayfield stinks when he knows the playbook. He's like, how do you think he's gonna do when he doesn't know the playbook?
Just think about guys like Jalen Ramsey in the locker room. There is no respect given there, none whatsoever, none.
One team that won't be in the playoffs is the LA Rams. But today, we want to give you a little bit of an insight as to guys that you should probably invest in right now before the playoff push. It's playoff season, so let's do it, right? I mean, there's my boy Jim Mora. It's one of the most iconic things of all time. Playoffs, it's happening right now. We're weeks away, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to start with Chris in the AFC. He's traveling over there, and you're going to go with your boy Joey B.
Yeah, Joey B. So Joe Burrow, He's given Macaulay Culkin as an adult, but he's serving up bombs to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and company. This guy hasn't lost a playoff game outside of the Super Bowl since 2014, and there has been none in December. I looked this up, right? This guy, none. He's never lost in December.
Incredible.
So Joe Burrow called the playoff loss in high school in some fateful night in 2014 the hands down the worst night of his life. And that was prior to the Super Bowl game last year, so the article is a little dated. But
and back in high school, he was still, fighting off Marvin Harry.
Not only once, but twice.
Right? And lost in New York. How do you lose Joe Burrow in New York? I have no idea.
Yeah. So look, Joe Burrow. We talked about him a little bit briefly. He's 3-0 against the Chiefs, right? So if he does run into the Kansas City Chiefs in the postseason, you got to give the advantage to Joe Burrow, right?
Yes.
Pat Mahomes has only lost 4 games in the postseason ever, and 2 of them have been, or I shouldn't say postseason ever, in December ever, and 2 of them were to Joe Burrow. I mean, this guy's got his number. I left Pat Mahomes out of my AFC rankings today because I feel like if he runs into the Cincinnati Bengals, there's just one and done for the Chiefs. I know that sounds crazy.
But keep in mind, the only reason why we're investing in these players is opportunity. Like if you take number one as your Joe Burrow, you think the Cincinnati Bengals might go on a little bit of a run ski here.
Yeah, and I want to point out something. I know it's to my right, right?
Yeah, you could point this way.
The left on the screen. So pointing over here, looking at Joe Burrow's chart from last year, that's his 1 year chart. At this time last year, you could see what started to happen with Joey B.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, maybe we're 1 week late because I think it started a week ago. But Joe Burrow is on the upward trajectory, and until I see him fail and fall flat at this point in the season, I got to ride Joe Burrow down the stretch every year going forward until he proves me otherwise. Joe cool for a reason. Joe Burrow, got to go long on him. He's got a what multiplier? A 10 time for a young guy.
He's a big boy.
Priced where he's at. You're looking at quarterbacks like Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers that are up in the 100 club. Joe Burrow, after this postseason, could very well find himself there.
Yeah. Well, Joe Burrow's your first guy, but going along with Burrow, sticking with you in the AFC is his Robin to the Batman, right? I mean, like, it's Jamar Chase.
So it's Jamar Chase. I mean, everything I just said about Joe Burrow outside of the Macaulay Culkin vibes, you could say the same thing about Jamar Chase. The offense is just so much more dangerous with him in, and they were playing really well without him. You add Jamar Chase to the mix, this team is going to win some games, and they're the last team that anybody in the postseason wants to run into, I could promise you. The way their pass rush got going, and we're talking about, we all know the talent on these guys. It's who's going to make a deep run in the playoffs and get some extra games to bank some value here and potentially chase after that Super Bowl bonus.
No pun.
I think the Bengals are really in a prime position very similar to where they were last year, where they're kind of under the radar a little bit. They're starting to sneak up on some teams, and I mean, there's value here. I know Jamar Chase is very high in the receiver rankings, but I still find value because it's between him and Jefferson as the best receivers in football, and I think he's going to make a deeper playoff run more consistently than a guy like Jefferson on the bum Vikings.
Yeah,
that's my bias coming out.
Yeah, a little bit. All right, switching over to the NFC, my first two, I'm going to go back to back because of the same situation that you just did. My first guy is Jalen Hurts. Now, it pains me to say it as a Cowboys fan. I don't want to see Jalen Hurts go anywhere. But truth be told, the Eagles are rolling right now, and there's no stop in sight. He's $58.70. So yes, he's still a little undervalued. He's up 55% since week one. So this guy is going absolutely nuts. He's got a 10-time multiplier. He's made me more money than I can count at this point. I am swimming in it because of Jalen Hurts. He's got immediate and long-term success. The Eagles actually have a chance to officially clinch the playoff berth this week with a win over the Giants or a couple losses outside of that. But they're going to go on a run, whether they're the 1 seed or the 5 seed, which, again, I'm just hanging out, dangling some hope out there for the NFC East title for the Cowboys, but I doubt
it's looking a little grim.
I mean, it all depends on this week, actually. I'm a big Giants guy this week.
Well,
let's go Giants.
It depends on a lot of weeks, but yes. The NFC
Anthony was like, oh, what'd you say over there? Let's go Giants.
The NFC East right now is they're all still got to play each other a bunch, it seems like.
The Eagles, yes, they do.
Like they did this all at the back end. And
the schedule makers know what they're doing in December.
Yeah, but honestly, when I looked at the schedule in the beginning of the season, I was like, none of these games are going to matter. All these teams are going to stink.
The Giants, listen, I saw this on a colleague's show yesterday while recording it, and he said, it's been a long time since you were able to hang your Christmas decorations and get ready for a Giants meaningful game in December. So the fact that the Giants are hanging around, God bless. But
hey, there's a potential for a really good week down the stretch here with Jalen Hurts if he ends up getting that MVP award, playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so get involved right now. Now, to the Batman-Robin debate with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, my Robin is AJ Brown. So AJ Brown, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys heard the news yesterday, but the Titans fired their GM mid-season right off the bat, which is very alarming. I want to say that there was some other internal stuff going on because who does that?
Just so we're clear, though, AJ Brown is Batman. Jalen Hurts is Alfred.
Oh, okay.
And
He's
Devontae
a butler
Smith
now.
is Robin.
Okay.
No, this is like actual.
Oh, does he call himself Alfred?
AJ Brown is Batman. That's his nickname. Like that's what his thing is.
Really?
Yeah. And
why did I miss this?
There was definitely a thing this year. So I was like, oh wait, Dave, is he trying to play off that, or is this just completely random?
No, I swear, completely random.
That's funny. But yeah,
where did I write
Brown
that?
Is Batman.
Where did I write that? I wrote down Batman or Robin. I just don't know where.
It's just Batman and Robin.
But anyway, oh yeah, look there. Look, see, if he's Robin, Jalen Hurts is Batman. So I got it wrong. He's a butler now all of a sudden. But AJ Brown is obviously doing wonders. He's up 12% since week one. You're gonna get at least one playoff game out of him, if not two. He's $10 cheaper than Jay Jetta, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. So on the market, like AJ Brown has had himself a phenomenal year. when you look at his stats for the season, he is just absolutely slaughtering it right now. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is doing his thing, but AJ Brown is averaging 79 yards a game, which again is pretty darn good. He's on 96 targets, 61 catches, almost 1,000 yards, and 9 touchdowns already. So AJ Brown is doing wonders for the Eagles, and he is my go-to guy to invest in right now because, again, they're going to get a playoff game. It's going to be a home playoff game. And again, if they win and they're the 1 seed, guess what? That's 2 playoff games at home. So AJ Brown is the way to go. So switching on over to probably what we've decided is the most undervalued quarterback on the Mojo market, and that's our boy Tua.
Yeah, look, I feel like the Dolphins are a team that could really also make some noise. I think it depends really how they fare the rest of the way and what happens with Buffalo. If Miami could sneak this division and turn Buffalo into a wild card team and not have to go up north and keep some playoff games down south at
6
home,
feet of snow.
I know that you're not really looking for an advantage by playing in Miami in December and January, and there's really is none, other than the fact that you don't have to go travel north and bring your guys into the pit of hell in Buffalo or even Foxborough, which I doubt is going to be a place this year. So Miami winning a couple playoff games and keeping that offense on that track the way they do, receivers on the outside, the success that they've had, we all look at them as a playoff team regardless at this point, right? We could establish that the Dolphins are a playoff team now.
Yeah, it's just a matter of when they clinch a spot. Not
and
so much
the captain of the ship is Tua. We've talked at length about how he's probably the most undervalued player in the Mojo market. That's going to change very soon. If they get a playoff win.
They're going to catch on, yeah.
If not, it might happen before the playoffs. I can't see him failing. Looking at their schedule, they have a
it was a rough go at it last week, and I lost some money being an investor into a heavy investor into it. But you know what? You hold on to that because you're not worried about it.
But you don't hold down those receivers for too long. That was the best defense in football, arguably, right now that they had to go up against last week. So you're not going to light it up every week. And I know the defenses get tougher as it gets closer to the end of the year and the playoff time, but we were talking about it. It's just, even if he doesn't play well, he just gets into the postseason. I feel like Tua is still the biggest buy in the Mojo market, not just for the postseason, but going into next year, the way they have it established. And guys, guess what? Tua got hurt in the last 3 plays of that game. So all you Miami Dolphins fans that were been celebrating, look, Tua's undefeated. The Dolphins are undefeated in games that Tua starts and finishes. Guess what? He didn't take those final snaps last week. So the Miami Dolphins are still undefeated in games that Tua starts and finishes this season, of course.
There you go.
So
Tua's your guy.
Tua's the guy.
Jay Jetta is my guy next, Justin Jefferson. Now, the Minnesota Vikings are going to find themselves as the 2 seed. It seems to be locked up. They're going to win a couple more games and get that done, right? So they're going to be in there. He's up 14% since week 1, 10-time multiplier. That's easy money right there to me. Long-term investment. This is the guy that you buy stock however much you want to spend, and you just hold on to it for the rest of his life because any expectations he will exceed no matter what. Jefferson is the best receiver in football right now. Again, think about his first-round matchup. It's going to be either against the Commanders, the Giants, or the Seahawks. I love that matchup for the Vikings, but even going forward, that road there. He's got another favorable matchup this week against Detroit. So it's like this is the kind of guy you want to lock up long term. And this is Justin Jefferson, 127 targets. This guy is fed. 88 receptions, 1,277 yards. We're talking about AJ Brown having a phenomenal year at 950 yards. This guy's got 1,277 yards and 6 touchdowns. Jay Jetta is my go long, stay long, multiplier, all that stuff. This is the guy, the premier receiver of the NFL and specifically the Mojo market. Now, you have a little bit of a curveball
I
here.
wouldn't say a curveball because this is, again, if you've been following the show, you've heard me talk glowingly about this player. He's a hammer. Jeff Wilson Jr.
Yeah.
And I know that I just talked about 2 Bengals, and now I'm talking about my 4th player, and it's his 2nd Dolphin. So I'm keeping it where I think these 2 teams are undervalued a little bit right now because everybody's still riding on the Bills and the Chiefs, and rightfully so. But I think that these 2 teams have a chance to play each other in the AFC Championship, and that being the Dolphins and the Bengals. A little bit of a sprinkle action on both those 2 teams to win the Super Bowl. Just saying. That's where I'm at. But I told you Jeff Wilson's going to have double-digit touchdowns this year. Going to be tough because, he only has 1 since then. But I still feel like down the stretch, the Dolphins are going to have to run the football against some of these teams if they're going to want to establish themselves.
Super cheap, man. Super cheap, I'm looking at it. Like, if he's getting the amount of carries that he's getting every game, This is a very, very big value play right now.
Yeah, and I know McDaniels is committed to wanting to establish the run. He's just been throwing the football because that's where they have their weapons right now. But they just got Jeff Wilson at the deadline, and I know Raheem Mostert is also a McDaniels guy, but they're different types of backs. I think Jeff Wilson lends more towards we're going to smash it now, in between the tackles. And he's less of a breakaway guy, but he does have that speed to pop one too. Very good spot to be in with those guys on the outside. There's no way they could stack the box against the Dolphins. He's not going to run into the San Francisco 49ers every week. And if you're looking at the top teams in the AFC, really it's just the Bills that stops the run well. Everybody else has holes on their defense. The Chiefs are not good defensively. I would say the Bengals, they're touch and go. They're touch and go though. Like the Bengals have had issues defensively, but they've also played well at times. Inconsistent, but I'll say good.
Okay.
But they're definitely not stopping the run as well as they could. I think there's going to be openings if Jeff Wilson gets against some of these teams in the playoffs. Who's the best run-stopping team in the AFC right now?
You said it. I think it's Buffalo.
Yeah.
So
Baltimore.
They're okay. They're all right too. All right. You take a running back. I'll take another running back. How about that? I'm going to go with my boy, playmaker TP, Tony Pollard. All right. This is, obviously the play for me is I think that Zeke is the guy that'll get the touchdowns, right? But it just seems to be different now, man. It just seems to be different. Tony Pollard is super cheap still. $13.08 is his share price. He's up 14% since week one. He's got a 5-time multiplier available on him. That's the guy you want to definitely invest in when it comes to the Cowboys rushing attack. Now, he's got on the year 148 rush attempts, 852 yards, 8 touchdowns. The biggest thing here is the 36 targets out of the backfield for 25 catches, 259 yards, and 2 house calls. Tony Pollard has been steamrolling, okay? And now, with the chance for the Cowboys to potentially play even more games, like if the Cowboys land the 5 seed, right, which the trajectory is showing that that's the more than likely scenario, he'll have a wild card game. He'll have another game on the road. If the Cowboys do something they haven't done since 96 and make it to the NFC title game, that's 3 playoff games for this guy to eat in the playoffs. And I truly believe that the Cowboys are set up for success. Obviously, their defense is all world, and I think that's a big part of all this. Controlling the clock, game management. Zeke is the hammer. He'll go in there and knock you out for a second. But the finesse out of Tony Pollard, the price that he's sharing right now, it just seems to me that this is a absolute buy-in for the playoff run and going forward because, look, the Cowboys are in a situation right now where next year they see the price for Ezekiel Elliott. They understand the contracts they got to pay out. They don't want to let Tony Pollard go. If they do, he will be paid somewhere. Somewhere will overpay him to be the bell cow, even though we're not aware if he can do that or not. Do I think he could do it? He reminds me of Alvin Kamara. And right now, Alvin Kamara is struggling, but Alvin Kamara at one point was one of these big guys that you're just like, oh man, I need to have Alvin Kamara either in your portfolio or on your fantasy team or whatever. Pollard is that guy. I wholeheartedly am in on Tony Pollard.
Yeah, Tony Pollard's way better than Zeke.
He's trying to fire me up here on a Wednesday.
Listen, he's a much better buy than Zeke is at this point in the
I'll
Mojo
go with
market.
that.
We could all establish that fact. Tony Pollard's got some bright days ahead of him. I don't know that we talked about this a couple times. Kamara is a fairly good comparison. I'm maybe not as explosive as Alvin Kamara was when he hit the league by storm, but he's a very similar type player where I think he needs another back in town to keep him healthy and upright. And right now they have a really good situation with Zeke. The Cowboys are averaging over 5 yards per carry as a team. So
they put 220 on the ground
Zeke,
yesterday.
Either way you look at it,
Zeke's
presence, I think, allows for Tony Pollard to be a little bit better. So, yeah, I'm in on Tony Pollard as well. Definitely shorting Zeke, though.
This guy, he likes to.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, how about Mr. Captain Obvious as your 5th guy?
Yeah.
Why don't you go pick out a Chief while you're at it?
Yeah, I mean, you could take your pick at either Mahomes or Kelsey, and long term, I feel like you're going to be in good shape.
Yeah.
I don't really want to invest in Pat Mahomes, and we've talked about the high-end quarterbacks. The reason why is because he's just so high. And even with the multipliers, I like Tua's, I like Joe Burrow's. So it's not that I'm not in on quarterbacks. It's just, it's hard for me to go after the top guy. When I'm stinky,
Justin Herbert was your first guy?
but he wasn't the top quarterback. Look, so when I'm
in the same
stinky rich and
conversation.
I'm gonna drop like $1 million in the Mojo market because that day is coming, right? And then I could get my it's like my bank account Patrick Mahomes will be my bank account in Mojo Market, right? My savings account.
Your bankroll, yeah.
But Travis Kelce, I don't know that he's going to last 25 years like Mahomes is going to probably because quarterbacks don't get touched. But he did. Look what he's done this year alone, right? Look
at Kelce.
Look at the value that he's gained this year alone. In 1 year, he's gone up $5.79, 27%, and he was already the number one tight end.
That's true.
Right?
He's just
I don't know.
hammering it home.
I don't know how much more room there is for growth, but with a 10-time multiplier, and if you would have 10-time multiplied Kelce going into this season right now, you'd be up handsomely, right? You'd be in a really good spot.
77 catches, 968 yards as a tight end.
And I know
yards.
I just talked glowingly about how I think there's going to be a team like the Bengals or the Dolphins to upset some of these powerhouses out in the AFC. I don't think it's going to matter because Kelce will probably have 13 catches in the 2 games that he does play in regardless.
Yeah.
Bro, he's got 12 touchdowns this year already.
12
touchdowns.
He's on pace for at least 15 for the rest of the year. You would think even more than that.
Yeah, more.
We got 4 games to go, 5 games to go.
He has 2 games with 3 or more.
That's true. I remember that. That was one faithful night, yeah.
So, yeah, Travis Kelce, as much as I don't like the guy, and
you're out of your
he
mind.
bothers me off the field.
He's the coolest dude in the world. His brother can.
I bet you he was
get
mean.
bent,
He looks like he was mean to people in high school.
He was a bully?
Yeah. Travis Kelce was a bully, and J.J. Watt was like the anti-bully. They probably fought. J.J. Watt was trying to, like, protect somebody in gym, and Travis Kelce was, like, definitely a bully. That's my take.
Wow.
Hey, I'm not... Look, that's a joke, all right? I have no idea if Travis Kelce was a bully or not, but he
We're gonna get a phone call tomorrow from
way.
Travis Kelce. Like, hey man, can we talk? Like, can I explain to you what happened to me in high school? Anyway, so get in on professional athlete Kelce. Don't invest in high school Kelce because he clearly was a jerk.
He was very dominant in high school, I would imagine.
he's 6'3", whatever.
Probably
He
also
4'11".
started center for his high school basketball team, dunking on people. Bully.
Would you? Totally. I'm going to take a deep shot here, okay? I know that you took one. I think your deepest shot was on Jeff Wilson Jr., right? Mine's going to be on a San Francisco 49er, and I know that the world is up in arms right now with the 49ers not knowing what's what. And if you think I'm going to say Brock Purdy, you're dead wrong, okay? I think he's going to be serviceable. But my guy is Brandon Ayuk. Now, I know that Debo's the guy, and they invest in Christian McCaffrey, and Kittle's great underneath, and they have these other weapons. The running attack took a little bit of a hit with Eli Mitchell going down. But I'm looking at Brandon Ayuk right now. He's up 11% since week 1. He's undervalued. He's sandwiched right now. Just think about the value of Brandon Ayuk and what you've seen every week out of him. He's in between Sammy Watkins and a very down year for Deontay Johnson. He's playing way above those guys, I think, And Brock Purdy, he's not going to – nobody knows what he's going to do.
I think Brock Purdy's the perfect quarterback.
Right. I don't know what he's going to do, but he might be looking underneath a lot. And Brandon Ayuk can do both. He can stretch the field, and he can run those drags and those slants. We've seen it. We've seen him – how many house calls of like 50-plus? Brandon Ayuk is that dude.
20-year anniversary of Rich Gannon winning his MVP award. Rich Gannon, I don't think, threw the ball further than 4 yards down the field the entire season that year. Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, Charlie Garner. That offense looks very similar.
Charlie Garner, you're taking me back.
Oh, Charlie Garner was
he was so good. That was taking me back.
Even Eagles, Charlie Garner.
I know. I didn't like him then, but yeah, he's great guy. He's got 7 games with 7 or more targets. So clearly, no matter who the quarterback is, because we've dealt with Trey Lance and we've also dealt with Jimmy G, and now you got Brock Purdy, 7 games with 7 or more targets, two multi-touchdown games. So this guy can find the end zone. This guy's my diamond in the rough. You're going to find out that he's going to get more than likely. I can't make predictions based off the fact that they just lost their starting quarterback, but if he's in the playoffs and they host a game, they could probably win that game with Brock Purdy. So you might get 2 games out of Brandon Ayuk, and you're going to get this backstretch run with Brock Purdy. I like Ayuk. I think he's super duper cheap. I think the multiplier is available for him. Take a shot.
Did you just predict Brock Purdy beating the Cowboys?
That's not going to be the matchup. That's not going to be the matchup. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. That is not going to be that.
Right?
No,
you heard that.
No, I didn't. First,
he said Brock Purdy, and then they're probably going to win a game in the first round.
Would that surprise you at all?
No. It would surprise me if they lost to the Cowboys in the first round. I told you that day one. I remember it might have even been on this show. It might have been on our first week. They said, "Oh, you're going to lose to the 49ers in the first round of the playoffs."
I don't want to talk about it. All right? For the first time in my life, people are talking about Super Bowl aspirations since 96. I'm tired of it. I've been on so many shows talking about the Cowboys where I've heard this team is special.
Could we
pump it.
Could we talk
pump
since
the
we're on the
brakes.
Cowboys and Odell?
Oh, yeah. Well, that didn't work out now, did it?
Not yet.
Well,
But
no.
what I said yesterday is 100% true. It's like there's rumors that Odell isn't ready.
He's not ready.
And he's just playing games at this point. with
Hey,
people
he's
good
not
for him.
ready. He mooched Jerry Jones for courtside seats. They had a hangout. The Cowboys media, look, they made it a spectacle. They
Bro,
always do.
I
Welcome to
think-
Dallas.
I just don't understand how.
Did you
there's
hear anything about what they did
There's
when
a
he was in
few-
New York?
There's a few. No, that's
No New York nightlife, nothing, right?
and
They
it's-
didn't hear anything.
and that's how it should be.
And then you
because
hear Buffalo. I think
you wanna
the
know
most
why?
you heard was Von Miller. They're like,
you
oh,
wanna
he's
know
not
why-
leaving.
And they probably told him to shut his mouth. After
But here's
that. They were
Jerry
probably
Jones like,
dude,
"Oh,
shut
baby."
your mouth. We have no idea. We might not even sign him. He's not even healthy. Shut up, right? And then Jerry Jones parading him around town. And it's like, I feel like, what if he does sign with the Giants? Then you have like footage of like a week ago, Cowboys Nation at a Mavericks game chanting OBJ. You know, I feel like there's
If
a
I'm
little
the
bit of
sound guy,
I feel like there's a little bit of a work going on here.
If I'm the sound guy at New York and I'm the stadium operator and I play all the like,
It's gonna- oh,
that's another Giants first down, right? If I'm that guy, I'm playing the OBJ
It'll be
chant
by-
from
oh,
that game
yeah, it'll be-
as a sound effect. Just rub it in. Listen, he's not ready. Clearly, they're saying that his contributions could start maybe January. Any team that signs him right now, do you think you can insert an OBJ in January? He's just automatically going to turn on. The Cowboys know they wanted to make a move for this year. This year is the year to strike.
Can I make a prediction?
And I don't think it happens.
I don't know that Odell signs with anybody this
That's
year.
what it seems to be. It seems to be he's got all these visits and these things that he's doing, and everybody's coming to find out, like, so how's the knee? And then Odell in a meeting is
Bro,
probably saying,
it's tough. It's tough when you're a free agent and you have coming off a knee surgery, and they're like, "Oh, okay, go run some routes."
Think about
and then
this.
He's like, "No."
think about this, right? Think about this. Michael Gallup,
Short Odell.
ready for this? Michael Gallup, all right? Chris Godwin. Both tore their ACLs last year. It's week 14 in the NFL, and they're just coming into their own, literally like playing old school. Michael Gallup, go up and get it. Chris Godwin underneath making moves, right? It took 14 weeks of an NFL season to get these guys right. Do you really think Odell is that much of a generational talent where he could just step in and be like, yo, throw me the ball, I'm good? Like, no, he's not.
Also, it's the same knee that he already had surgically repaired. So
Twice.
No, yeah.
Twice. So look,
Well,
if you if
that's
you
what-
want to sign him, Dallas, you can next year when it makes sense. Because right now it doesn't make sense. If you're going to throw a big wad of money, apparently the contract was structured, or at least people were talking. Rumblings that I read was that he wanted money now, like he needs it now. I'm not saying he's broke by any stretch, based off of the stuff you saw him wearing the other day. It was just all just decked out and everything. But like the guy wants money immediately. And Jerry was trying to insert like, sure, I'll give you that, but can you sign this waiver saying if you get hurt within the first 4 plays of the season that we get our money back? Like, there's no guarantees in the NFL when it comes to salary unless you get a guaranteed salary. He probably was looking for a fat paycheck right now, and Jerry Jones, for the first time maybe ever, made the logical GM decision to say no.
It's not even about a lot. It's like Jerry Jones wants to sign Odell. It comes down to this.
It's
it
Dion
comes down to this.
all over
It comes
again.
down to this. Doc, is he good? No.
Yeah, I don't care what Odell says. He's
No,
not.
It's not.
And he
he's
wasn't
not.
out there at the Star running routes with Dak. You know what I'm
And,
saying? It just doesn't line up anymore. It doesn't. So anyway, I'm done with
Yeah,
Odell.
Odell's injury recovery just didn't necessarily line up with
He did
what
it
he was
in
hoping.
February.
What he was hoping would happen, and he was hoping to establish, some needs by some teams, and he actually played everything right, except his knee didn't agree.
I tore my ACL and meniscus in 2014. It's 2022, and I still wake up like, oh, and I'm not a professional athlete by any stretch, but Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, those things don't just go away. They don't. They just linger.
I wouldn't say they just go away, but the NFL, they
You've
do a
seen
really
guys
good
come back
job.
out of nowhere
They do
and
a
play
good
better.
job.
I
We just
understand.
talked about Godwin, and these guys. It's crazy what they're able to do, and Odell as well. It's like Odell has had injuries. He came back. Nobody expected him to play the way he did last year.
No.
Right?
In any event, for more Odell coverage, you can head on over to mojo.com. You can follow us on all the social medias right now, Instagram, TikTok, and, of course, the old Twitterverse, which, again, that blew up yesterday with all the stuff that was happening with Judge, and then you got the Odell stuff. Twitter's been a fun place lately. Go follow Mojo. Turn on your push notifications, guys. Yesterday, they have a claim to fame. Mojo was able to fluff their chest a little bit. Their news about Baker Mayfield broke before ESPN's.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that? We got people working behind the scenes.
I got it from Mojo.
Yeah, I got it from Mojo. So that's how you do it. Head on over to mojo.com. Download the app right now on your trusty phone and hit the notifications to make sure you get those alerts, and then you'll make your money. So do that. Do that responsibly. For Dave Sturchio, Chris Gucci, A5 Behind the Glass here at Chop Studios. This has been another episode of the Mojo Market Report. Tomorrow, week number 14 begins with a banger of a matchup between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Rams. I know I'm trying to build it. We'll try to build it even more. We'll tell you who to play for, who to make plays with.
It'll be an exciting time to see Baker.
And he throws his third interception of the game. Take it back to the house. Good night, everybody.